Alright, this list took way too long to put together, and by the end of it you are going to have way too many games on your wish list and not nearly enough money in your wallet. Let's get into it. Game number 1. The Witcher 2, Assassin of Kings, Enhanced Edition. Almost everyone has played the third Witcher game, but way fewer people went back and played the earlier entries. I have played all of them, so here is the honest breakdown on Part 2. If you loved the third game because of the massive open world and smooth combat, manage your expectations, because you will not find that here. The world is chopped up into sections, some open, some strictly linear, and the combat is noticeably rougher around the edges. It is not bad enough to make you rage, but it is a step down from what came later. Keep in mind this game came out around the same time as Skyrim, but with a tiny fraction of that budget. Now, if what pulled you into the franchise was the writing, the humor, and the characters, then you are in luck, because Part 2 delivers. I would give the story a solid 10 cold beers out of 10. On Steam, Assassin of Kings sits at around 90% positive reviews from tens of thousands of players. Fun fact, this game was the financial success that gave CD Projekt the resources to build the much bigger third installment everyone knows today. Game number 2, Scars Above. This is a challenging sci-fi third-person action-adventure shooter, combining punishing difficulty with a compelling story set inside a mysterious alien world. A massive alien structure suddenly appears in orbit, and the shock ripples across the entire planet. A team of scientists and engineers gets sent to investigate, and naturally things do not go according to plan. The aliens haul the team across space and drop them onto an unfamiliar extrasolar planet. You wake up dazed and alone in a hostile environment, and it is up to you to track down your crew and piece together what happened. Steam reviewers say the game is fun and praise the story. The downside people bring up is the somewhat linear plot combined with Souls-like combat mechanics that the game does not communicate clearly. A lot of casual players end up stuck on the very first boss because of this. Game number 3. Fell Seal, Arbiter's Mark. This is a beautifully hand-drawn, story-driven, turn-based, tactical role-playing game set in a fantasy world with a touch of steampunk flavor. You get a mature and epic story here, unfolding across more than 40 encounters, building towards some genuinely challenging endgame content. To progress, you need to master classic tactical combat built around rugged terrain and elevation. The class system is deep, offering over 30 classes and around 300 abilities to mix and match. Steam reviewers describe this game as simply awesome. If you want a real challenge, play through on very hard difficulty and see if you truly have what it takes. Game number 4. Stellaris. Every playthrough starts the same way, with a young civilization that has just discovered interstellar travel and is ready to explore the galaxy. You send science ships out to survey strange anomalies, and that leads you into a huge variety of missions introducing strange new worlds packed with even stranger stories and discoveries, any of which can reshape where your empire ends up. You are never truly alone out there. Maybe you find a friendly trade federation. Maybe it feels a little too familiar, like something out of Star Wars. Or maybe you run into plain old space cannibals with very different plans for you. Whatever galactic nonsense comes your way, you can handle it solo or bring friends along in multiplayer. Game number 5. Returnal. This is an incredibly beautiful action roguelike leaning hard into intense bullet hell combat. After crash landing on a strange, shifting alien world, you search through the barren remains of an ancient civilization trying to find a way off the planet. You are alone, fighting for survival until death catches up with you, and the journey resets every single time. The fun part is that just as the planet reshapes with every cycle, so does your available gear. Every loop offers fresh combinations, pushing you to constantly rethink your strategy. It is technically a roguelike, but it never feels stale. The game is still fairly expensive, and the system requirements sit on the higher side, so double-check your setup before diving in. Game number 6. Palworld. This game has racked up hundreds of thousands of reviews, with a score above 90%. Yes, it is essentially a creature collecting game without the actual monsters from a certain famous franchise, but that changes nothing about how much fun it is. Pal World pulls you into a massive open world where you can live peacefully alongside mysterious creatures called pals, or fight off a ruthless poaching syndicate instead. Pals can fight, or be assigned to work on farms and factories. You can also sell them, or in desperate situations, eat them, all under the label of peaceful co-living. It is also a full survival game, with scarce resources and dangerous poachers around every corner. Up to 4 players can team up online, and dedicated servers support as many as 32 players in one world. Game number 7. No Rest for the Wicked. Still in early access, so expect a few rough edges, but this comes from the developers behind Ori and the Blind Forest, so we are not talking about a rookie studio. The story kicks off in the year 841, and as news of the king's death spreads, the crown passes to his arrogant and untested son. Rebels want his head, and the land teeters on civil war. As if that were not enough, an unholy plague that has not been seen in 1,000 years returns, sweeping across the land and corrupting everything it touches. Right in the middle of this turmoil, you are sworn to defeat the plague no matter the cost. It is always better to be the warrior than the civilian caught in the middle of a war, so kudos for stepping up. You have got this. Or maybe not, knowing how these things usually go. Game number 8. Manor Lords. I remember seeing the trailer for Manor Lords and learning it was developed by a single person, and my first reaction was pure skepticism. How does an indie game made by one guy end up looking better than Age of Empires 4? But I was clearly wrong. To be fair, he probably got support once he partnered with Hooded Horse, one of the coolest publishers around. Manor Lords is a wonderful city builder with elements of warfare. The visuals are impressive, especially once you zoom in and notice the beautifully rendered grass. My computer actually froze a few times on ultra settings, though I was also recording in 4K at the same time, so that likely played a role. The goal is straightforward: build a fully functioning medieval city, starting small with a hunting lodge and peasant housing, gradually growing into a thriving city. You can shape your lots and fields into almost any layout, and your builders handle the rest automatically. There is even a forester building for regrowing your forests. This is a wonderful real-time strategy game, and I recommend it without hesitation. Game number 9. Timesia. This is a dark fantasy action role-playing game built around fast, aggressive combat and an interesting plague weapon system. In a kingdom where death rules, you play as a mysterious figure known only as Corvus, once again the kingdom's final hope, with the fate of the land resting on your shoulders, blah blah. You know how this goes by now. It is also a fairly short game, technically beatable in around 6 hours, but let us be honest, that is not happening unless you are already a certified gamepad deity. And if you happen to enjoy tea with a bit of time mixed in, consider that a small sign you are exactly the type of player this game is looking for. Game number 10. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. Our final entry for this batch follows a broken Celtic warrior who embarks on a haunting vision quest into Viking hell to fight for the soul of her dead lover, at least as far as she understands it. The game was developed in close collaboration with neuroscientists and people who genuinely live with psychosis, and that shows. Hellblade pulls you deep into Senua's fractured mind, and that mind is a genuinely chaotic place. This is a pure mindfuck in the best sense, constantly blurring the line between what is real and what exists only in her head. The one thing you can count on without question is how beautiful this game looks. The graphics border on photorealistic, so if you are a sucker for stunning eye candy, this one delivers. That wraps up the first 10 picks on this list. 20 more are coming right up, so stick around.